Now, the Afghan government has released an elderly British couple 8 months after they were arrested. Qatar helped negotiate their release. Peter and Barbara Reynolds have arrived in Doha after boarding a plane in Kabul. Taliban authorities didn't specify why they were arrested. The couple had lived in Afghanistan for more than 2 decades and were Afghan citizens. They ran educational programs in the country.
This experience has reminded us of the power of diplomacy, empathy and international cooperation. We are forever grateful to the Qatari and British governments for standing with us during this difficult time. Thank you for giving us our family back.
Michael Semple is a visiting professor at Queen's University, Belfast, and a former EU representative in Afghanistan. He joins us from Cambridge. Good to see you, Michael. Thank you very much for your time. So, Barbie and Peter Reynolds had been in Afghanistan, we understand, on and off at least, since the 1970s. Can you tell us what they were doing there and why they remained there when many other Westerners were leaving?
Yes, very good question. I mean, I think that they fell in love there in more than one way, obviously with each other, but also they fell in love with the country. They have spent about the past 18 years doing aid work in the central highlands of the country, Hazarajat, and they considered this their home. So I'm sure it was quite a rude shock to them when they were arrested.
And how did they find themselves detained by the Taliban? Do we have any more details about that?
I mean, look, it's really not clear. I think that the Taliban claimed that they breached some technicality of one of their laws. Of course, the Taliban laws change all the time. That's not very difficult. I think that more the question is not so much how they were arrested, but how come they, as an elderly couple, were held for so long. 8 months was really an inordinately long period, given that the Taliban actually didn't go ahead with any judicial process. Instead, they essentially held them as hostages and negotiated over them.
Why then have they been released now, do we understand?
Well, I mean, for me, I would almost like toss the question back. Why weren't they released earlier? If I had had a chance to provide advice to the Taliban, I would say, you don't get any credit for holding a harmless elderly couple, 1 day unnecessarily. But I think it took a long time for the Taliban leadership to authorize their release. Of course, the terms of the release are not made public yet. They've had multiple rounds of discussions with UK diplomats, also obviously with Qatari mediators. Eventually, the Taliban leadership was prepared to sign off, and that's what took so long.
Yeah, whatever the reasons for their detention and the decision to let them go now, as you mentioned there, Qatar has played a key role as mediator. What more do we know about that?
I mean, just that the multiple rounds of discussions by the British diplomats clearly weren't enough to clinch that agreement. We should be absolutely clear. The negotiations were not around anything wrong that the couple might have been done. It's about intergovernment relations and various demands that the Taliban had of the UK. Ultimately, I suspect that the Qatari mediators were successful in convincing the Taliban that they would get more credit for being seen to release these people than holding out to obtain, one more concession from the British, and that's probably what clinched it and led to their release today.
Yeah, in many ways, of course, a reminder of the importance and the need for international mediators to do their jobs when many Western countries have refused to talk at all to the Taliban.
Yeah, although I think that clearly it underlines the importance of mediation. I think that the fact that I don't think the Taliban will have got much out of this should be a warning that hostage diplomacy, which as Qatar is all too aware, is underway in other locations. Hostage diplomacy may look initially attractive to the hostage takers, but in the long run gets them labelled as just that, as hostage takers. I think there are two sets of conclusions there. I don't think that actually the hostage takers will have got any great reward out of it, and I would like to think that in their evaluation they would suggest that behaving better actually will get them a stronger position in the future.
All right, Michael Semple of Queen's University Belfast. Many thanks for joining us.
Most welcome.
Don't miss out to get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.